I want to take a few minutes here to sketch out for you how everything we're talking about comes directly from the core teaching in Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths. Many, perhaps most of you, are familiar with the Four Noble Truths. They are not really truths. They are proposals that Buddha made about reality. Like all religions, it was all the people that came later on that elevated these proposals to noble truths and made Buddhism into a religion. One could say that the difference between Buddhism and Zen is this. Zen takes the existential and ontological aspects of the Four Noble Truths very seriously and heads off down the road to see where they lead. So let's look at the Four Noble Truths and see how they relate to what we've been talking about so far. Buddha put his four proposals in a specific sequence, and the sequence is no accident. The first observation is this. Life involves suffering. Things fall apart. People change. People die. None of the arrangements we build up around us ever last for very long. The second observation is this. The reason for all this suffering is that life itself is nothing but change. But we don't recognize this or accept this. We are always trying to stop this change. We are always trying to grab onto things and people and arrange them around us, trying to make our own situation better in some way. If this is going to work, we need people and things to stay the same, both so there's something solid to grab onto, and so that thing or person that we grab onto stays put in whatever arrangement we are attempting to make. People and situations and things have to remain the same if all of our grabbing on and holding on is going to work. So we want things to stay the same. But things don't remain the same. Everything we arrange or try to hold on to keeps changing or falling apart. And this is why we suffer. The third observation says this. The world arises dependently, and at each visible phenomenal occasion of this arising, the so-called things that we encounter around us that make up the world, there is no self-nature. Things are empty. So, the world arises into a moment of iPhone, but does not actually create an iPhone. There is no iPhone being produced by this dependent arising. There is no there. Everything around us, everything that we are trying to grab onto, is empty of self-nature or essence. There is nothing to grab onto. There is no there anywhere. We don't see this, so we spend our lives chasing and trying to grab on to both objects and people, none of which are really there, because they're all in our heads. What's more, the self that is doing the grabbing is not really there either. But we think it is, and we are sure that we can make this self happy if we manage to grab onto and hold onto the right combination of other things and people. The fourth observation says this. Just stop grabbing on, and all this ends. The many and various approaches to Zen are all about stopping this grabbing on, mentally, psychologically, and emotionally. It's all your grabbing on that generates your emotional states, the psychological tunnel that you're always in, the self that is at the center of every moment of world that you ever have. The third observation that Buddha made, that all phenomena lack self-nature, that everything is empty, is where Zen goes far beyond most forms of Buddhism. Zen takes the ideas of impermanence and dependent arising existentially. Zen says, okay, if nothing is ever the same from moment to moment, if there is no self-nature that stands apart from the flow of time, this means that nothing extends in time. All existence is momentary. Nothing enters or exits any moment. So time itself is not linear. And the world occurs in discontinuous, utterly complete arrangements. And no one of these arrangements becomes the next. So both time and world are discontinuous. All of this is a bit mind-blowing, but this is exactly what dependent arising implies. Dependent arising proposes that vast reaches of time and being arise into and arrive as each phenomenal moment of world. And since all the events arising into this moment are themselves arising on countless other moments, then each moment of time essentially evolves all of time and all of being. But at the same time, all these phenomenal arisings are empty of self. There is no iPhone in your iPhone, and no Oakland Bay Bridge in any moment of Oakland Bay Bridge. So there is nothing that is moving or traveling or continuing from one moment to the next. And here's where Zen goes much farther than most forms of Buddhism. It's not just the world that's arising dependently. You are also. So you are not arriving from the previous moment. You don't exist. You occur. Vast reaches of being and time are arising into each phenomenal moment of you. All of this comes from simply taking the second and third noble truths seriously. The deprogramming that we are engaged in here has one simple goal: to get you to the point where you can take dependent arising seriously. This requires letting go of the riverbed, the one you've been clinging to all your life.